So let's get right into it. I want to start with kind of what you're doing now or right before OTAs. A couple of weeks ago, you sent me some super private clips from OTAs, and the first thing I said to you was, damn, you look fast. And you started talking to me a little bit about some of the things you were doing in the offseason. Just talk to people a little bit about what you did this offseason to try and take your game to the next level.
I mean, the biggest thing for me is I never been a 4-3 guy. I never have, and probably never will be as far as the real 40 times go. But so I try to do anything to improve my speed. I feel like God blessed me with a rare skill set to be able to move side to side and use my quickness as an advantage in my game. So anything I can do to help that and help my route running, I've been trying to do that over the years. So this year I focused a lot on my speed, did a lot more track workouts so I can, blow the top off of some of these defenses. And another thing I did was musculo-systematic engineering, which is another thing to kind of fine-tune my body to where I can train more, which is like we talked about a few weeks back, was just basically ultimately be able to go out and train my craft and my route running even more. So
just find a way to never get tired.
Yeah.
How has that changed over the years? How like take me back to high school, college, like to now? How has your off-season training kind of changed over that time?
Well, at first, I mean, you learn and figure out. I feel like at the beginning, I really had the wrong idea. I was thinking that it was all about being swole and being the big dude. So my body changed a lot. I feel like I'm able to move and sustain and kind of be more. What's the word? I guess just be able to, over time, my stamina is a lot better than what it was. I was bulked up and I had the big arms and all that stuff. They still strong. You can still see the biceps through the golf shirt. You know what I'm saying? But what's going on?
I'm just heading in. Mind if I just drive ahead?
Yeah, you good. Go ahead. It's my bad. I'm out here on the course. But yeah, I just did everything I could to really try to fine tune and make sure I was focusing on what actually needed to be focused on, because I was too worried about how stuff looked rather than the actual performance of it. So now that I'm really getting older and learning the tricks of the trade and seeing, looking at the Larry Fitzes and a lot of guys like that and the people that, sustain the longevity in this thing, talking to Jerry Rice and different things like that, learning, Jerry was never known to be the guy that was, the biggest dude out. You got the Andre Johnson guys out there who can do that because that's really their natural size. But that's not my natural size, and I really wasn't feeling as comfortable like that.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that's something all young receivers, it's going to be super valuable. In high school, college, it is that kind of stigma. Like, I just got to get big. I got to put on as much weight. I got to pass my lift test, all that kind of stuff. But that's not helping you play this game for 15, 20 years. Yeah,
no, it's not about the combine no more. Once you do the combine, the 40s are done and the bench press maxing out, all that stuff is done. It looks cool to be able to say, I can bench 225 25 times, but if you can't get off press, then none of that matters.
Yeah, and I feel that too. I just went through that with the kid I've kind of told you a lot about, the kid Juwan Winfrey, who just got drafted to the Broncos, and it was so relieving for both of us once he was done with all the combine and pro day stuff. He was like, you can finally go back and focus on the craft. All that. The 40-pound stuff is just wasting your time on what's really important, but it's a necessary evil.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that they got to test some. They got to find out how fast guys are some way. So I guess you can't really blame them, but you also know at one point all that stuff goes out the window, and it's about really just finding out what works best for you to make sure that my game is about quickness and getting off the spot, and the bench press is not really gonna help that. So not that I'm not putting work in the weight room, because I definitely am, but just the main focus kind of shifts into what you really need to do. And like I said, for me to be able to move lateral and defeat press and go out there and beat the Patrick Petersons of the world and stuff like that, you gotta lock it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to get to press coverage in a second, because we probably had 400 or 500 questions from the fans, and 2/3 of them were about press releases, because everyone loves your press release game. So I'll get to that in a second. But something I want to talk about that I think is unique about you, similar to our guest last week, Mohamed Sanu, who's kind of been spearheading this whole bean talk thing, is that you move around the field a lot. You go from outside receiver to the slot. And just talk to me like what that's like. How does your mindset change going from, an outside receiver to a slot receiver? How does your plan change, if any? And just talk about that adjustment throughout the game.
Well, I feel like I've been put in a situation where earlier in my career, most of what I was doing was outside. And I feel like it kind of limited me. But over the past few years, I've been moved around a little bit more, and I think it's better for a guy to start out outside, and it's an easier transition box because you got that sideline right there, and you got an inside receiver on the inside where you can't go too right from the jump. Was being able to work in that kind of that phone booth mentality. So to be able to take all of those moves and use that repertoire and take that inside where now you got all of that space.
Yeah.
I feel like I know just based on my conversations with different DBs, guys that I respect around the league, them telling me how much of a bind it puts them in to be, stressed out. Now you got all of that room. You can go anywhere. So,
right. Absolutely.
So that's been the biggest thing. What I love about being able to move and play number 3, number 2, and number 1, because now I can use those different moves and kind of alter them. And you've even made highlights of what I've done and when I've been at that number 3 spot. So it's a little bit more fun.
And that's what I want to talk about next. Like that wide receiver film room episode, the long breakdown I did on your game versus the 49ers. That was like you were kind of in a lull period during that game for like the second and third quarters, and then it seemed like once the coaches put you at number 3, they found that mismatch. You had 7 catches in the last 3 minutes of the game, and once they found that, y'all were hitting on it. It was cool to see that.
Yeah, no, that's like I said, it's a blessing to be able to create a skill set like in that phone booth, and then you get inside, and then you can run across the field, you can run deep routes, you can still do all the same things. But I feel like it puts the DB in more of a bind, and he got to react more, and rather than just using his skill set, he can't guess as much because you can go anywhere.
And so right after that episode, which I'm sure was just coincidence, right after that episode, you put out a tweet saying, "I'm expanding my release package this year."
Yeah.
Talk to me without giving away too much. Talk to me a little bit about what that entails. I know you work with a guy in the offseason, Keith Williams, that I have a lot of respect for and have gotten to know pretty well. So just talk about kind of what that process was like, expanding, your release package that a lot of people already feel like is one of the best in the league.
Yeah, well, I mean, people don't really have not everybody has the right idea of exactly what I meant, but obviously I got the footwork at the line of scrimmage, but releases is just more than what happens, right as you release. The release continues really for about 5 yards. So if I come off the line, I can give you a little shake and commit to the fade. And then at 5 yards, I can give you another little pop, pop. And then that's the type of thing that'll throw somebody off because, and it really don't matter because wideout play is all about the presentation. So I can tell a DB all my secrets at the line of scrimmage, at the beginning of the game. And depending on what I do, depending on how I make it look, he has to respect it. Because if I really make you look like I want to run the fade, you have to respect it. You can't just say, no, he said that he's going to do this, so he's not going to do it. So if I get on my horse and I really make it look, I got to convince myself that I'm running that fade before I convince the DB. Because if I think it and then shut it down, he really on my horse and he think I'm getting out of there. So the release pattern is really all throughout the first 5 yards of the route. So I can shake you here, release outside, and then give you another little something like now you thinking that was slant, and then now the guy's sitting down, and that's where the separation comes.
Pairing all those releases together, making certain packages look the same for different routes, absolutely. That's truly what the art of receiver play is.
Yeah. And another thing to toot your horn a little bit after watching that the 49er breakdown, you brought up the stealing releases, and that's the thing that I really didn't even know other people even paid attention to, because I do that in practice all the time when it may be a run the opposite way and I know I'm not getting the ball, but just to fill them out, because you don't get all the opportunities, you may not get that route later on. So it's kind of a practice. It's like you see Steve Nash at the line kind of doing this before he shoots a free throw. I just look at it that way because you may not have gotten a rep against that guy before. Like last year, I played Xavier Howard, and that was my first time playing against him. A lot of guys, I got a lot of respect for him. So that's a guy where, if I play Richard Sherman, I've played him a few times where I know how he's going to react to certain things a little bit better just based off and experience. But playing against a guy like Xavier, and I got to fill him out and see how he reacts to stuff. So maybe I want to use a certain release later, so I'll counter it by doing a little, BS, or for lack of better words, release, just to see how he kind of bite the cheese on it, or if he do, or if he don't.
And for anyone who doesn't know what Tay is referring to, the concept of stealing a release is anytime you get press coverage, in a run play where, the pressure's not really on you, that's when you want to steal a release. Instead of just running the guy off kind of lazily and taking that play off, like really take your time to execute a plan and either set something up down the road or just judge how he reacts so you gain information. And that way you can accumulate 10, 15 extra reps throughout a game so that when your number is called, against press coverage in the fourth quarter, now you have all those added reps and you can go get that money.
Yep, 100%. That's the biggest way. I feel like that's like getting a practice shot in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. So talk to me. Coach Dub left a comment on the post where people were asking questions. This is something that you introduced to me. He said his question was, explain how press releases are similar to wiping your own ass.
Hey, I was just about to bring this up anyway, so I'm glad that he said something. The easiest way to, and I hope everybody listening to this, I wish there was more people tapped in. All the young wideouts out there, you got to think about it. Date back to when you became a grown man or an older adolescent kid. The last 500 times you wiped your ass, you didn't get up not one time saying, "Damn, I didn't wipe my ass good enough right there." So that's how you got to treat every single release. You can't come off the line. You got to go ball. You can't come off the line and just pitter pat. Like you working all these times in practice with every wideout coach you've ever had. And I know everybody's doing it. Everybody's working on releases now.
Right.
And it just kills me when I see a guy have a go ball and he got the perfect is one high man, safety's tilted the other way, and now this is his way to wipe his ass. But he want to come off and just halfway wipe his ass and then flush the toilet. You got to make sure you coming off and you wiping your ass good, because you would do the same thing. You would never get up. You'll never get off the toilet 1,000 times out of 1,000 times. You're gonna make sure your ass is wiped good. So that's the same way I look at my releases, especially on the go ball, because that's the home run right there.
Exactly. And it's one of the best, metaphors I've heard, and I think it really resonates with the kid. They laugh out of the first, but when you really think about it, like, it's on point. Something I've been it's on that note that I've been relaying to my receivers as of late is just thinking about an intention at the line of scrimmage. Like, every step, every plan has a purpose. Yeah. So think about, what is that plan? Do I have to get him to jump inside? Well, then you better do that before you release. Is my plan to stretch him outside and assess his reaction? Like, whatever the intent of that release is, like, slow yourself down, take a deep breath, figure out what the purpose is, and then go execute it. Stop being in such a rush and acting like the clock is ticking, because you have a little more time than you think.
Exactly. I tell the wideouts that we got some of the younger guys right now. They get out there and they do some of the most beautiful releases in the world, on air. And then when it's time to get out there in front of a guy, and we in a team period, or if we in preseason game or whatever it is, and then they rush it. And I'm like, well, why are you rushing that? Because you saw when we were doing one-on-ones, you saw what the effect of what it does when you do, you widen tap, or you do whatever it is. You do a threat and release, and you whoop them. But now you're in the game and the heat is on, and you rush it because you're fast. I mean, we get everybody. If you got a 4.3, just why not match that 4.3 up with great, being a technician, because then that's what puts you over the top.
No, absolutely. Last kind of thing on press releases or the play, and I want to get into a little bit of like mindset stuff, and then I'll let you go and get back to golf. I don't know if you saw the clip I just sent you. I just put out this post of, kind of your highlights mashed up with an interview I had with Darius Slay, who obviously is a DB that we both have a lot of respect for. I think he's one of the better guys in the game. And I asked him, I said, who's the best receiver you've ever gone up against? And he said it was you. And he just said, your releases at the line of scrimmage were really tough to decipher. But just talk about, like, what, overall do you feel like it is about you that makes you such a difficult cover? Maybe something that kids can kind of emulate from your game that makes you so hard to cover.
Well, the one thing that I do, and I think that a lot of people don't understand, is that, what I do at the line of scrimmage is not choreography. Is based on, I have an initial plan, and it's kind of like, this is another Coach Dub metaphor, I guess you could say. It's kind of like a Terminator mask. If a guy is right up on you, you got to have a plan. You drop down. It's kind of like you hit a button, and these 5 releases in your head drop down. If he's 3 yards off, it's a soft press. You got to drop that, and then those scroll down. If he's 5 yards off, you got to have that same mentality. So I just always have a plan initially, and based off what the defense gives me, I try to react off that. And so you'll notice a lot of times I may not get the perfect release. I may not whoop him exactly how I want to at the line, but my hands are always ready. So, if he does get a jump on whatever it is, my hands are ready and my hands are violent. So I'm still really sudden. The other big thing that I think that guys should do is the change of pace.
Yeah.
People don't truly understand and value the change of pace coming off the line of scrimmage. I may burst off and just slow it down, and then now the DB is thinking they're waiting for that money move. I did another release thing with Charles Woodson on ESPN, and I talked about him, and DB's waiting for that money move. So as soon as I come off a burst and then I slow and I kind of lull him, you obviously don't want to expose your chest, because that's another reason why a lot of wideout coaches coach against that, is because people show their chest and they slow down. But you keep that same pad level, you just change your pace, and now they're waiting for the next thing. So the next flash that they see, they're going with it. But rather than just taking it, which sometimes you may do that, but more often than not, they see that and then they're waiting for the next thing, and I'm going to throw it there and I'm going to stick and then take it back inside. So now they jumping for that because they were waiting when they were low to sleep. They waiting for the next move. But rather than just doing the obvious, you counter it with a jab, or sometimes you do take it just based on what they give you.
Mm-hmm. And I think that was really well said. You said a couple of things there that made me smile, because it's exactly what I tell my guys. But the thing that the young wideouts got to realize is, like, you know where you're going. He doesn't. You're always in control. There's never a moment playing receiver where you're not in control. So take advantage of that, and using change of space, using attack in different angles to get them off balance. Like, those are the things that can get you open. The ways you lose control is by rushing and not executing your plan fully.
Yep, 100%. You got to execute. I mean, the plan is the you train it all. We don't train in straight lines. So I don't get why people just take off and go. Sometimes if a guy want to open the gate and you fast, yeah, take that. But how often do you get a quality corner that's just gonna open up the gate for you? So you just running at him straight and then trying to run around him. One, that's gonna be a bad release, and it's gonna be a wasted release. And two, the quarterback's probably not going to want to throw you the ball, because more often than not, you're not going to save that red line for him. And unless you got an Aaron Rodgers type guy, which I try to even help him out by not doing that. You don't want to have the quarterback, because it's just more than just you out there. He got options to throw to. And if you see that you're up against the sideline, just running, sprinting next to a guy at all times, you're putting more pressure on him.
Absolutely. That's well said. And getting into a little bit of mindset stuff. At M. Conrad 34, at Nikolai Preston, they both asked, like, what's your mindset at the line of scrimmage when you're sizing up a DB? What are some of the cues that you look for and that tell you to kind of break off your release and use one plan or the other?
Well, the biggest thing is knowing before you even line up with them, just based off film. I'm a big film guy. I watch countless hours of film on my opponent. I like to watch, I'm already watching film on Xavier Rose and Darius Slay right now, and we don't even play them for obviously, for a while. So, and I've played them before, so it's a big thing. I try to just know. You got to know your personnel. So going into it, it's really no surprises. Obviously, people change up their game a little bit, but just knowing the most that you can out the gate, I feel like it gives you an advantage. So, I just try to learn them and then come off the line and, like I said, react. Yeah. The biggest thing is always to be able to stick your feet in the ground. People talk about not getting parallel, but it's a great thing to work. Barring your skill set,
you can't always do that. Yeah,
you can't always do it, but you like Jordy Nelson. He's a guy that was often open, but that's not something that was a part of his skill set. So he knew different ways to manipulate DBs to just outsmart them and do different things. So he wouldn't try to do necessarily the same things I would do, and vice versa.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's well said. I got two more for you. Most Sanu gave us some interesting answers to this. Any pregame superstitions or pregame routines that you kind of stick to every single week?
I got nothing really crazy. I just eat the exact same thing before every game.
What do you eat? He said he eats peanut butter and jelly before every game.
Nah, I can't do I do PB&J at halftime sometime, but I make a salmon salad. Okay. I started doing that in 2016, and I had a few touchdowns that year, so I just say we're gonna keep that going. So I just it's a little bit just a regular salad, grilled salmon and with ranch and cheddar cheese, and that's like my go-to right there.
I like that. That's very interesting. And then last one, who's the hardest cornerback you've ever matched up against?
It's been different guys at different points. I say my rookie year, it was Darrelle Revis.
Yeah, he
was the guy when we played the Pats. But over the years, consistently, it's probably been Pat P. I got a lot of respect for Slay and Xavier Rose. And you know what, Xavier Howard this past year, I think he's one of the better cornerbacks in the league.
Yeah, no doubt. And any like football idols you've had growing up, your favorite receiver growing up, or anyone you really like to watch now?
Oh yeah, I mean, as far as work ethic and just respect for what he's done, obviously Jerry is bar none.
Mhm.
But my favorite wideout of all time is Randy Moss.
Mhm.
I feel like he the freak. He's always been that guy I've idolized. I never could run like him, but I feel like we had a similar skill set. I feel like we both can catch the ball well with our hands.
Right.
We both can run, and he took his route serious too. People don't really give him credit as much for his routes just because of how fast he was,
Right.
but he was breaking dudes off. So I got a chance to meet him a few years back. Met with Jerry a few times, but I did a panel with him at the Super Bowl,
Okay.
so that was pretty dope. But yeah, those probably my top two.
That's awesome. And I actually have that panel recorded because I was there for that. So for all the fans, I'm going to put that up on YouTube pretty soon because that was a really cool conversation with two really great players. Yo, man,
Yes,
I can't thank you enough, bro. This was awesome. Literally, I feel bad because we could just go on forever, and I want to let you get back to golf.
No, but we can definitely run it back. We can chop it up. We can hop on FaceTime in these next few days, whatever. If you want to chop it up some more, we can do whatever you're trying to do, bro.
Yeah, I would love that, bro. I appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon. Keep doing your thing and keep killing it in OTA. Send me some film when you get a chance, too.
Oh yeah, I got you, baby.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you soon.